Hi, I'm Paul Saunders. I'm on the Legal and Planning Committee for Hockey Queensland, and I'm also Director of Finance for Brisbane Hockey. The Brisbane Hockey Associations are both non-for-profit sporting organisations, like most sporting associations in the Brisbane area. We have about 6,000 players that utilise these artificial surfaces, like the one behind me. And if for any reason we didn't have water, these centres would be vacant. They'd be unused for weeks and weeks at a time until we got water supply back on. We have 3 facilities, one at Kedron, one at Carina, and 2 here at the State Hockey Centre that need to be watered. There's another one at Redcliffe, which is a hybrid that doesn't need any water, and that's a sand-based surface. The cost of water per year is roughly $25,000 a field for a 12-month period. The cost of water is crucial for us, so we obviously keep an eagle eye on the costs of it, and water sparingly. We don't overwater the fields. For example, on a rainy day, we don't need to water the fields, but in the height of summer, obviously you do. Hockey in Brisbane would be spending at least $100,000 a year just on watering artificial surfaces. Behind me is a water cannon. There are 6 on each field. These pump out about 12,000 litres per minute. They're used 7 days a week, basically, 7 days and 7 nights. They're used primarily from about 4 o'clock until about 10 o'clock, but also during the day for schools, for training programs. So they're utilised in the season from March through to September, 7 days a week. Out of season, the weekends are probably not used as much, but the weekdays are still used. If the water was cut off without us knowing about it and we tried to water the fields, obviously we could seize the pumps and it would have serious consequences for us. For hockey on artificial surfaces, we really couldn't go more than a day or so. I mean, it's that important that the surfaces are watered. The quality of the water used on the surfaces has to be of a high standard, because if a player goes down and cuts themselves or has a cut and the water's not been treated, obviously from a legal perspective we have a problem. So the quality of the water that goes on to the fields is vitally important. We do harvest water as well, but we don't normally use that on the fields. We use that for other things like toilets or watering grass fields or whatever. Obviously for grass fields we need water for the growth of the grass, but for artificial surfaces it's to A, stop the ball from bouncing, B, to make the surface not abrasive for the players if they slide on it, and C, because they're made to be water-based. If the water couldn't drain away from the fields, the implications would be that the water would build up, lift the carpet itself, get underneath the surface, make it totally unusable to play on, and it would just keep building up and probably would lift the surface so much that you'd have to replace the carpets, which could be in the vicinity of $250,000 per field to replace the carpets. What it means to our 6,000 members is that every day and every night of the week is they can't play, so they would be devastated if they couldn't do that. We budget to replace the carpets every 7 to 10 years, depending on how well they last, but we don't budget to replace them in short-term periods because it's such a costly outlay. Around the world, especially in the subcontinent, they use water-based hockey fields. Europe uses water-based hockey fields. One of the problems they do have in Europe and England, for example, is it freezes during the winter, so that is a problem. In actual fact, the surface we put in at Burringbar is what they're building 12 of those. Australian construction for the Olympic Games. Australian company, and their technology is, I suppose, leading the world in water usage. They tell us, and so far it seems to be the case, that we're saving about 40% of our water use with a new surface. I'm not sure about the quality of the water they'd receive in the subcontinent, but to have a world-class facility to have visiting international teams, you need to have a water-based facility. There are hybrid systems which are sand-based but don't have any water, but they really haven't replaced the water-based. The FIH, which is the Federation of International Hockey, is obviously trying to push towards hybrid surfaces because of the problem with water in lots and lots of countries around the world. But at this stage, they're still reliant on water-based surfaces. The product Urban Utility supplies us is understated, it's obviously world-class, the quality of the water that we receive throughout Brisbane. We don't think about it, but we are totally reliant upon it.